This episode of the Opie Radio podcast sponsored by BlueChew.com. Promo code OPIE, O-P-I-E, to try it for free. And it's also sponsored by HemplandUSA.com/Opie. CBD, bitches. 20% off right now if you use the promo code OPIE, O-P-I-E. Boners and CBD. These two should get married. Oh, yeah.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts, take me in your dreams, touch me as I fall into view. When the winter comes, keep the fires lit, and I will be right next to you. Engine drivers headed north to Pleasant Street. Keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Come on.
All right.
Yeah.
What's up, Judd Jones?
Not much, man. How are you today?
I've been dreading talking to you on the podcast, considering you were with me when I saw Vic Henley for the last time.
Oh my God, what happened to Vic? Is he all right? Yeah, man.
Oh my God! Now I gotta play Vic. Really?
Yeah.
Of course, for the people that don't know, Judd Jones was Vic Henley's neighbor as well, and Vic insisted that me and you become friends. So you're stuck with me, Judd Jones.
All right, man. Fair enough. Well, you seem all right so far.
However, I'm not all right whatsoever. I play a good game. I know how to get my energy up, but I'm kind of lost, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been just kind of wandering around lost for the last 2 or 3 weeks at this point.
I completely empathize with that. I tell you, it's made me think, the reason I met you and Carl and Sherrod was because of Vic,
right.
know, and then when Carl passed away, I knew how close you guys were. Like, he and Vic were good friends.
Yeah.
So you guys were real tight. And you, I saw you not long after that, and we're kind of all of us talking about it. It might have been a podcast or something, but you just kind of had
a look in your eye a couple times, like a shell shock thing. And man, that's what I got right here, dude. I mean, it's the same thing, you know. It's when you text or talk or see a friend of yours damn near every day for years, and then all of a sudden, like, I haven't texted or talked to him in a couple weeks, and it's just fucking weird, man.
Yeah, I mean, how long did you know Vic? You lived next to him for, I think, at least 3 years, right? No, more than that.
I moved here and moved to New York in 2015.
Right.
And then not long after that, I met Lisa, and we've been together ever since. And like a year after that, I moved in. She lives next door to Vic, and we're still together now.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, no, I'm just joking. I went to a bar around the corner. I went in there. We went to the bar, and I was talking to the bartender, and I told him I did stand-up comedy, and I just moved from Houston. I hadn't been doing it that long, and he asked me if I knew who Vic Henley was, and I recognized the name, but I just couldn't place him. And like 2 weeks later, I'm back in the bar, and the guy was like, he was saying that Vic comes in there all the time. Well, 2 weeks later, Vic comes walking in, and that bartender, Matt, who I'm still, in touch with, he introduced us. And I told him that I started in Houston, and, because Vic's traveled all over the country doing stand-up for years. He knows a lot of Houston people. And I mentioned this particular guy named John Wessling, who's still he's a Houston comedian. Vic knew John Wessling, and since I mentioned Houston, I found out like a year after that Vic called John Wessling like to check in to be like, "Hey, I met this guy Judd. Is he worth the shit?"
Oh wow, no kidding. That's hilarious.
But since then, man, literally we're one door down from each other. So when you haven't been doing comedy that long, and you move and meet somebody like Vic. I mean, shit, dude. I mean, that guy, he was a pro, but he was, nothing but nice to me from the beginning.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be. And, I think, being from Texas and him being from Alabama, we had that. He liked to talk about, how big of an Auburn fan he was.
Sure.
Well, I went to Texas A&M. So Auburn, in Alabama, it's Auburn and Alabama. In Texas, it's Texas and Texas A&M. Well, Texas A&M and Auburn are considered the stepchildren of their respective states.
Yeah, exactly.
So we kind of bonded football-wise on that, like always the underdog kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he was, nothing but cool to me, and took me around all the clubs and introduced me to everybody, and I got to open for him. We actually had a gig scheduled, or multiple gigs, this past weekend. He told me that he liked to book gigs on tax weekend because that was his fuck you to the government.
Right. Oh, good old Vic. You guys, you probably hung out with Vic the most in the last few years, because of the fact that you were neighbors, and that Vic's favorite bar was right around the corner, and you guys hung out there a lot. I know Carl hung out at that bar as well.
And that's how I got to know Carl, is sitting in those bars right around the corner. I mean, especially when Carl was damn near pretty much living at Vic's for, what was it, last summer?
Yeah.
Some of the spring.
Yeah.
And we hung out all the time, man. I mean, we would just go down to the bar down the street. But with Vic, been in comedy so long, he knows so many people, and he's got different circles of friends like everybody does. But just kind of watching, how he was on stage and with the people, whatever. It's a good example of how to get it done, because, I've told people from the beginning, I haven't been doing stand-up comedy that long. I just want to make a living out of making people laugh. I don't care about celebrity, any shit like that. If that were to happen, well, we'll deal with that if that happens. And that's what Vic did. A lot of people knew him, but he wasn't, A-list people that but the motherfucker did well. And he was, corporate gigs out the ass. He's doing club gigs. He's doing everything. And he did it until he died.
Yeah.
He was just, doing fine.
I'm so glad you said that, because you're 100% right. Vic was as funny as they come. He had a lot of success, and he downplayed his celebrity big time. He was all about doing the hang. He was all about making people laugh. No one made him happy about me and our friendship when I would tell him that I was with my family fishing at the beach. He's like, good, stay there. Like that's when he was happiest for me, when I was away from the nonsense of radio and comedy and all that horse shit, and was just living a normal life. with my family. That's what I'll always remember about Vic.
Family and friends.
Family and friends first.
And friends was
first.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
And it's funny, you mentioned the first time you met Vic. I honestly don't remember the first day I met Vic. I was doing radio. I believe he just came in like a million other comics, and we hit it off immediately. And he's the type of guy, and you don't get a lot of these people in your life that you honestly don't remember when you met them, because you really feel like they just always were part of your life. And Vic was one of those guys. I don't know how long I knew him. If I had to guess, I would say 6 or 7 years. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it because he simply just felt like someone that was always around in my life. I don't know. I mean, I'm having a tough time with this.
Me and some of my friends on the internet have decided that you are responsible for Vic's death.
What?
Since you didn't bring him out to your house on the beach.
Are you crazy?
We've come to a consensus. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Vic would be alive if it wasn't for you and your selfishness.
Oh, okay. That's exactly what's going on. You're nuts. He hinted that he wanted to quarantine here, and I was like, dude, because he wasn't taking the coronavirus seriously, and there's rumors all over the internet. Vic Henley did not die from the coronavirus. How am I responsible for a pulmonary embolism?
Well, no, that's the thing. Well, you're responsible for everything. Everybody dies around you, so my days are numbered. God forbid, Sherrod. He knows you better.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone's going to die. It's all because of you.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to be what some people seem to think.
I hope Sherrod is living like John Travolta in that old movie. You're too young for it, I think, but... John Travolta was in a movie, I believe it was called Bubble Boy. And I
Bubble Boy, right. Yeah,
I hope Sherrod is living like John Travolta in that movie, because...
Keep it all away.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures when he's up in the hills somewhere doing something. Yeah, he's off the...
Oh, no, he's scared shitless, so he's hiding. But Vic, he hinted he wanted to come out here. And I'm like, dude, you're not taking the coronavirus seriously, though. So if you come out here, you're going to have to take a Perel bath. And we had a good laugh over that, man.
No, for sure. Well, I had to laugh at that. I heard that and saw some shit, and it cracked me up.
Yeah.
But because it's all your fault.
Oh yeah, okay. Because I'm the only one that deals with death. I'm the only one that knows people that died, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when the people die around me, because I'm a public figure, everyone knows it.
Sure. They're like, damn. Yeah. Him again?
Yeah.
Golly. Yeah, right.
But it is creepy. Carl and Vic Henley both gone within 6-7 months, and they were roommates, man. They were roommates to the end, pretty much to the end of Carl's life. Carl only left for his own apartment in Queens. I don't know, maybe a month before he died.
Not even, right. Yeah. Right. He was still at Vic's, because he died, September, and that was all through summer, so he was barely in there. We offered for him to come down. We're in Florida.
Right.
He came down here a few weeks ago, and and then he passed away like a week after we were here, and it was just the fucking wildest thing. But I'll tell you two things. One, Vic was not meant for a quarantine.
Oh God, no.
And I can't say he was having a hard time with it, but his mind's always going, and he's always needs something to talk about, or people to talk with, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was still coming over. We were barbecuing, still in the middle of all this shit.
Oh, I know, because we were talking on a regular basis, and I was like trying to tell him to, take this coronavirus very seriously, and he basically would be like, "Fuck you! I'm going to Judge's house, Judd Jones's house, and we're going to do some barbecue."
That's right. Yeah, it's so funny. As much as good of a cook he was, he never had shit in his apartment.
Right.
Like, he just never had it. So anytime we'd be making an order or something. I'd say, we'd say, even before all this, say, "Hey man, we're going to make an order from Costco or something like that. Do you want anything?" And sometimes he'd put in on it. So before we left, we made an order, and I said, "Hey man, you want any fucking meat or anything like that? We're making this order." He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Give me like $100 worth of whatever." So we ordered that, and we gave it to him, and he was like, "Oh, let me go get that money." And it was after we barbecued, and he was all fucked up. We were both fucked up. And he's like, "Let me walk over and get the money." I was like, "Dude, don't even fucking worry about it." And then 2 days later, we leave, and he dies. So I'm out $100.
Oh, you're out 100.
Dude.
That sucks.
Yeah, and all that meat's in his fucking freezer, dude. Goddamn.
I know how to get into that apartment. Let's go get that meat and celebrate Vic's life with a nice barbecue. I remember the first time I met you because I was like, "Who the hell is this guy in our inner circle?"
Right,
because
we were William Stevenson's thing.
Yeah, we were at Vic's apartment because William Stevenson he passed, and he was very close to Vic. He played cards with Vic a lot, and they were very close. And he was so distraught that Carl called me. He's like, "I'm on the way to Vic's, and meet me over there." And I did, and we're sitting in Vic's apartment, and all of a sudden, we needed meat or something, and
then we ran out of food because more people showed up. Ran out of all the cold cuts.
No, you're missing a very important part. We ran out of food before I got there, and then
before you go, that's
and Carl, being the guy that always wanted to take care of everybody around him, looked at you like, "What do you got?" And you're like, "I don't know, I might have some steak or something." So you brought over like the cheapest looking steak from Costco.
Costco steaks.
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
Carl was looking at me like, what the fuck? What can I do with this crap?
Right. But and I had known Carl a little bit at that time, not that well.
Yeah.
And so when I showed up, they were the fucking Costco filet mignon, whatever. And then he was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like it was something shitty. And I was like, "You're the chef, motherfucker. Do you imagine?"
Yeah. But we were busting your balls, and then and then it turns out.
What are you talking about?
And then it turns out Carl looked at that as a challenge because the meat wasn't that good, Judd. To be honest with you, it was looking a little rough.
Yeah. Right.
And Carl was up for the challenge, and remember what he made? Because it was just simply amazing.
Oh yeah, he put it in the oven for a little bit, and then he sliced it and seared it.
Yeah.
What is it called? The reverse sear.
The reverse sear. Absolutely. And then I left thinking you were just going to be, the guy with the cheap meat.
Right.
I'm thinking, because I don't know your connection with Vic. I'm like, why is this guy even here, man?
Cheap meat.
And then all of a sudden, Vic just kept pushing you on me and the podcast. He's like, "Hey, when we went to Get Parts, Vic's like, I want to bring Judd. He's really funny. He's got stories." I'm like, "Yeah, I trust Vic, obviously."
Yeah.
And lucky for you, you're not known as the guy with the cheap meat anymore because then.
No, that's good.
Because then we spend many days together podcasting and whatnot at Get Parts.
Yeah,
and you actually were at Get Parts the last time I saw Vic, that famous day where we had Dick Cox bring a bar to a bar.
That was such a fun day.
Yeah.
Because not only because of everything that was going on, even though we all got fucked up, even Vic, we were able to pace it to where we were able to do what we wanted to do and have a good time and then get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
It just worked out. Like, that was such a fun day, man.
Well, I don't know what your definition of pacing is because we go to Get Parts. Dick Cox has a loaded bar, and Matt's shaking his head at me, basically saying, "Oh, do what you have to do," But he was so confused why this guy from South Carolina was bringing a whole bar to a bar. And the first podcast, if you remember, was perfect, man. We had a really good time and everything. And
that's part of the pacing.
Yeah,
and then yeah.
No, I was gonna just say, we were celebrating Vic's CD. He was really proud of it. Hell is Real, which turned out great, and he was happy about it, and we were celebrating, and we got a perfect podcast, and we're starting to think about getting that fried chicken at Ribbon, which me and Vic did numerous times. Actually, me and Vic did that a few times.
Yeah, we did that.
Well.
We did that before. Yeah, that was really good. We didn't get what else did they have? He talked about the oysters over there.
No, he loved the deviled eggs. I can't
deviled
wait.
Eggs. That's what it was. Deviled eggs. There you go. Yeah.
If I ever go back to New York City to celebrate Vic's life, I'm going to go to Ribbon. I'm going to have some fried chicken. I'm going to sit at the exact same table we usually sat at. I'm going to get the deviled eggs, and I'm going to just fucking eat it all and just smile and think of Vic because he was.
I'll be with you.
Oh, hell yeah! Absolutely, more than invited. Absolutely. It's the least we can do. We're ready to close up shop at Get Parts, and then Vic looks at me like, "Let's do another one." And I think the episode's called "This Was a Bad Idea."
This was a bad idea.
And it wasn't a bad idea. I'm so happy we did another one because it was just so sloppy and so good, and honest.
It was loud and fun. Yeah.
Honest Vic comes out with a little of that anger, and he's even funnier. And then and then that episode ends, and then it's like, all right, let's go to Ribbon, because at this point he called the comedy club and said, I'm not, I remember. I don't want to blow up his spot, but I remember he was trying to say that he was stuck in traffic. And I'm like,
oh yeah, he said he was out in Queens, or some shit like that.
I'm thinking to myself, comedy club owner's not going to buy this. We're in a bar, and at this point, with Get Parts, if we stayed too late, they would start turning on the music, and the people would be coming in. So you could hear all that in the background as Vic is trying to convince this guy that he's stuck in traffic in Queens.
Right. It's the party going on in the background.
Exactly. With Dick Cox.
DJ's already showed up. Yeah.
With Dick Cox yelling, "What are you drinking, Vic? Shut up! I'm stuck in traffic.
You want another racist beer?"
Yeah. That peach beer.
And then we didn't make it for the chicken.
No. Well, then from Get Parts to Ribbon, it's a short couple block walk, maybe 3 blocks. And
you and I were walking up front.
Yep.
And then Dick Cox and Vic were walking, and Dick made it across the road at the light, and Vic didn't.
And then you said, "Excuse me," and you went to see what the hell's going on with Vic at the light. That's right. And then it was me and Dick Cox because
and then I whistled at him because he was just kind of circling there. It's like looking confused. I whistled at him. I was like, "You all right?" And then he walked over at the light, and I've seen that look before. I said, "All right, man, let's jump in the cab. You want to head up?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah. So my last memory in person of Vic Henley was him just staring off into the distance as I'm a foot from his face and saying,
"Oh shit, yeah, okay."
Saying,
wow.
"Are you okay?" And you go, "Dude, we'll have to take a rain check on the fried chicken. I gotta get Vic home,"
we'll get it next time,
which is awesome. You threw him into a cab. And you guys took off, and then me and Dick Cox went and had the fried chicken at
right. And then y'all went to go have fried chicken, and we actually went uptown, smoked a little weed, and then that was it.
Oh shit! So he had a bit of a comeback.
Oh sure, just open the window a little bit in the cab, get some breeze on your face. That's all you need.
Yeah, right on. Oh, Judd, I wanted to ask you about Blue Chew. Are you a boner guy?
Well, by nature, I haven't needed that. Well, shit, man, I drink Jack Daniels. I'm open to most shit.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I love the Blue Chew. They've been with the podcast for a very, very long time, and I really, really appreciate these guys. And, they're talking about increasing performance in the bedroom with the Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color blue. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you could be ready whenever an opportunity arises. How about that, Judd Jones?
Hit the gas. If you can hit the gas, drop the pill and get it.
And get it on.
I'm with you.
Blue Chew is prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy, and we all don't want to be waiting in any lines these days, right, Judd Jones?
At least 6 feet.
Yeah, exactly. But can you imagine you get the coronavirus because you were waiting in line at the pharmacy to get a dick pill? That's stupid.
No. Just send it to my house. I'll take it that way.
They ship it right to your door, and guess what? In a discreet package, so those nosy neighbors don't know what you're getting.
Right. Well, if they saw a big boner on the side of that box, I wouldn't care. That's all.
That would be the dumbest thing they could do.
Sure. Oh, that's Judd's box. He got it right there.
Right. Yeah. That'd be the stupidest thing to do if you were BlueChew.com and have a giant boner on the side of your packaging.
Check out my logo. It's my Prime.
Yeah, exactly. Visit BlueChew.com. Get your first shipment free when you use the special promo code OPIE, OPIE. Just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's Blue, BLUE, BlueChew.com, promo code OPIE to try it for free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and I thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Hey, Judd, you into the CBD?
CBD. I think I've had like some CBD, like an ointment, like you massage in your neck or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to have to send you some from Hempland USA.
Right. Okay. Hempland. Yeah.
Hempland USA, America's #1 CBD company. I love these guys. They sent me some samples, and now I'm all in. And as I'm thinking about Hempland USA, I just realized that I ran out They gave me the ECS5, which is a groundbreaking enhanced CBD product, and it chills me out. It mellows me out. It's nice. I really like it. And I swear to you, I feel like I'm thinking clearer when I'm on the CSS5, the ECS5. I guess I'm not thinking that clear.
See, well, you're so relaxed that you fucked it up right there.
Oh, Judd Jones, that's why you're the best.
I'm sorry.
That's why you're the best.
You're so relaxed. It works.
No, I've been thinking about CBD for a really long time, and then I finally settled on Hempland USA after doing a lot of research, and they've been around a long time.
I'm a fan of all that shit. I'm telling you, there's something to it, man. It's out there.
Oh, wonderful. No, I really do believe in Hempland USA especially. It's all about value with them. What you get is more CBD for less money, a win-win for everyone. They got a lifetime money-back guarantee. How crazy is that? It's all about the ECS5 for real. I really, really like that product a lot. ECS5 contains a unique blend of black pepper, clove, hops, rosemary, and jujube that supercharges CBD so that your body can process it better. They also gave me some kind of ointment. I got a bad lower back problem, and they got an ointment.
Lower back, that's right. That's right. You had the problem in Florida in Disney.
Oh, thank you for remembering that. And that was
I remember that, but I think that was more general family stress than anything else.
You think? But they got this therapeutic cream from Hempland USA. I did use it on my back, and it gives you a little heat.
Sure, I like it. A little lower back heat.
Nothing wrong with a little lower back heat, right, Judd Jones?
That's what I say, and I used to work on Broadway.
You can take 20% off your next order by using the link hemplandusa.com/Opie. Don't forget the promo code Opie, OPIE, at checkout to get 20% off. That's not bad, right, Judd?
I feel very optimistic. That sounds wonderful.
Experience the Hempland USA difference today by going to hemplandusa.com/Opie. Use the promo code Opie, OPIE, at checkout for 20% off. That's hemplandusa.com/Opie. Use the code Opie, OPIE, at checkout. I love Hempland USA.
Beautiful. We got CBD and dick pills. I'm excited.
I said at the beginning of the podcast they should get married.
Sure.
Boners and CBD.
Work together.
That's a perfect marriage right there.
I want to relax and have a heart on. Perfect. Makes sense to me. I don't know. Shit.
I got to ask one serious question. Do you think him getting hit by that car had anything to do with this in the end? Have you thought about it?
I have thought about it. And,
I mean, and we're not speaking out of turn either because this was all on the podcast.
No, 100%. You get a pulmonary embolism, which is what he died of, or a heart attack, something like that. I've always said shit like that is like the air conditioner falls out of the window when you're walking by.
Yeah.
Like it can just, boom, it can happen to anybody. But one of the things that leads to a pulmonary embolism is a previous injury. And so, what are the odds? I don't know what the odds of that might have had anything to do with it. He was not having any residual effects from that I knew of, and I would ask him about it, and I mean, again, I talked to him so often that if he was sick or something was going on, I knew about it.
Sure.
He didn't even say hit by a car when he first told me. He said, I feel like he said bumped or something like that, but it was enough to take him off his feet because he landed on his, like on his hip and his elbows,
yes,
kind of on his back. And that's where he had bruises.
Yes.
But, he got popped, a little bit, but the car was turning left and it wasn't like full speed or anything like that. But that's how he described it. Could that cause what happened to him? Yeah. Dude, I saw him plenty leading up to that. I mean, I left a week before he passed away. And actually the last time I saw Vic, we were out in the front of the building. He knew we were leaving the next day to come down to Florida, and he says, "Hey man," he goes, "Do you have any spare toilet paper? So I just don't have to fuck with doing that." And I said, "Sure, man."
Yeah.
So, and we had talked and texted that day or whatever. So it was like 9:00 at night, and we met out in the front, just on the front of the sidewalk in front of the buildings, and I gave him a half package of toilet paper. And then a to-go thing from the freezer that had pulled pork that I made a couple days before.
Yeah.
So I gave him toilet paper and pulled pork was the last thing. And then as he's going back into the building, he says, "Going to Florida is a mistake."
Oh, really?
That's what he told me. So that was the last thing. I mean, I talked to him on the phone after that, being down here, but that was the last time I saw him, telling us that going to Florida was a mistake.
I mean, we actually did a podcast. I don't know. We recorded probably about 10 days before he died. And, I just called him up like I'm calling you up, just checking in on him. And, man, we were having such a great conversation. And it was cool because we had tons of those type of conversations without ever recording them. It's funny because he told me he was so happy because of the self-quarantining and staying at home that he reconnected with his mom, and he was pretty much talking to her every day, and he was really, really enjoying the conversations with her.
Yes, and I decided, because I got some of his family's contact information, to call his mother last week. And boy, that was a fucking rough one, dude. Not gonna lie to you. That was a tough one. As soon as she answered, and I said, "Is this Gloria?" And she said, "Yes." I was paralyzed, dude.
Really?
I couldn't even talk. I mean, it hit me the hardest since he died, right there.
Yeah.
And I was paralyzed. I couldn't get out the words. I wanted to say who I was and all that, and I couldn't. And she could hear that I was having trouble. And then she says, and this is perfect, that it's Vic Henley's mother. "Well, honey, I couldn't quite hear you. You're going to have to speak up. There's a storm blowing through." And it immediately broke the ice.
Yeah.
And I talked to her for 2 hours, man. And super nice lady, everything that you would think she is, Southern, very proper and all that. She told me some things that I didn't know. She said that Vic, photographic memory, which makes sense. He would never say that, but he had a crazy memory. But she said he had a photographic memory.
Right.
She said that when he was in the 2nd grade, the school wanted to move him up to the 6th grade.
Wow.
Right? That's what she said. And that he always got all A's, but always got F's in conduct.
That makes total sense, right?
Yeah, total sense.
Yeah.
Total sense. But she told me when I was talking to her how much he had called during all this. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Telling all sorts of stories and stuff that he had done. And so I thought that was pretty nice, And so she was telling me all sorts of stuff, and I was telling her some stuff, but, not too much stuff.
Yeah.
But she also got, she got calls from, name the comedian, man. I mean, every comedian who's been around for, 20, 30 more years knows Vic. So, a lot of people have reached out to his family.
Yeah, man. I mean, the outpouring from all those top comics was unbelievable. I didn't even realize he knew, had a connection with all those guys, because he downplayed it all the time.
He completely downplayed it. I was with him a few times when he'd get a call on his phone or something. You'd see a name on there and be like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that happened every once in a while, but because everybody knew him, and I thought it was cool. Adam Sandler commented about Vic passing away. And one night we were going to the club, and Vic had the last spot on that night, and we were just been hanging out in the bar before that. So we walked down to the comic strip, and in front of the strip there's a few people standing out there, and all of a sudden somebody raises both arms and says, "Vic Henley," like that. And Vic doesn't have his glasses on. He goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And we're walking and get a little closer, and I was like, "That's fucking Adam Sandler, dude."
Jesus.
And Vic was like, "Oh, Adam." And so,
right.
Right. And so, he had been there because his nephew, Jared, is a comedian who performs at the strip. So Adam was just there that night. He told Vic, he goes, "I saw you were closing out the show. I just stuck around. So I just want to say hi to you before you walked in." He's standing out there with his nephew and the manager of the club because he was waiting for Vic to come in so he could say hi to Vic.
How cool is that, man?
Yeah. I was just like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the people, we were at the bar one time after being at the comic strip. Jordan Rock is a comedian in New York who's
I know
Chris
Jordan.
Rock.
He's a very cool guy.
Jordan Rock's brother and Chris Rock's brother.
Yep.
So they were talking about something, I guess some connection that their family has to people living in South Carolina or something like that. So it was something about the South, so they were talking about it in the club. And like an hour later, me and Vic were at the bar, and his phone lights up and it says Chris Rock on the top of it. And so he's like, oh, hey, Chris, just like it's, whatever, man. I mean, everybody knew him, dude. Everybody knew the guy.
It just sucks. The last thing I discussed with Vic Henley was Tiger King.
I talked to him a little bit about that. That is very exciting. Very hillbilly, but
I bummed him out a little bit because he wrote me it was like 2 days before he went. He wrote finished Tiger King, and then he goes, I saw a tiger and a tiger saw a man. The music video fucking killed me. And then I had to be the one that told him that the Tiger King did not sing that song.
Yeah, that's what he told me too. He told me the same thing.
Yeah, well, he got it from me because I burst his bubble because he was all excited. I'm like, dude, everyone thinks the Tiger King has an amazing voice, but he hired some band, some musician. I think his name is Vince Johnson. Here it is. And vocalist Danny Clinton are actually behind the songs and the music videos. And then the Tiger King guy, he would just, Joe Exotic, he would just sing very softly over the vocals.
Well, are the guys who wrote it, are they as good a performer as Joe Exotic? I think not.
Nah.
Fuck no, dude. There's no way. He's a performer. He's a performer. Yeah, 100%.
And Carol Baskin killed her husband. Fed him to the tigers. I have no doubt in my mind.
Look, man, that's like one of the, if you've got a place that's got a bunch of tigers, you can probably get away with killing somebody. It's like people who've got a pig farm.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. Starve the pigs for a while, they'll eat anything.
Oh, yeah, man.
Same thing. Oh, yeah, for sure. She's got way too much of like a Hillary Clinton thing going on, in my
100%. Hillary Clinton.
Boy, it's weird, man. It's weird.
Because everyone is trying to figure out, who should play Joe Exotic. And I'm like, well, Hillary Clinton should play Carol Baskin. What else is she doing?
Completely.
What else is she doing?
Completely.
I'm not worthy when it comes to talking music with Vic Henley. And you're talking about a guy that, on the radio pretty much my entire life. So I know a little bit about music, but Vic just blew me away. But every once in a while, we would just bond on the dumbest things. Like when Bill Withers died, we both were in agreement that Bill Withers at Carnegie Hall in 1973 was just simply an amazing performance. We would bond on stuff like that every once in a while.
He had told me that y'all had talked about that before.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you this, man. We were performing in Baltimore about 2 months ago at Magooby's Comedy Club.
Sure.
And I was opening for him. And actually that weekend, I thought Vic died twice because he wouldn't answer the phone, sleeping in and shit. But when we were coming back, because he felt so bad about sleeping in the last day, he kept saying, I'm sorry, because we got late coming back to New York. He's like, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, no, man, fuck, don't even worry about it. Because when he did something that wasn't like professional in his mind, like being late for a flight or not, something like that irritated the shit out of him because he was always there in time on, that whole thing. And I wasn't worried about it, but he kept apologizing and all this. I'm like, man, don't even worry about it. And I'm telling you, man, on the way back, we listened to a lot of John Prine and Bill Withers.
That's so fucked up.
I'm telling you, dude, it's in my Spotify because as he would say, Bill Withers, Carnegie Hall, and I would put it in there and I would do a favorite thing on there. So I remember to go back and it's all in my Spotify, dude.
Wow.
All those songs we listened to. Yeah.
For the people that don't know, both those guys are no longer with us. That's why I said that's so fucked up.
Very weird.
Very strange.
Like I said earlier, man, this quarantine was not meant for Vic. He wasn't going to go anywhere because, he had options. I mean, the guy could, pick up and go if he wanted to. He just wanted to stay in New York. I'll tell you, one of the first people that I heard from after the news got out was New York comedian Nico White.
Okay.
Nico White. Funny dude. He's one of the first people I met when I moved to New York, and he's always at the comic strip and, all this. So me and Nico and other comedians been hanging around with Vic at the comic strip, all this. And Nico called me that night, and that was like the first time I teared up when he said, he goes, as soon as I heard that Vic died, he goes, that's exactly how he wanted to go, man. He died in that apartment.
Right.
And I started laughing, but also teared up thinking about it. I'm like, you're exactly right. Vic's whole thing, dude went through 2 marriages, had to fork out all sorts of money, kept that apartment, that badass apartment on the Upper East Side, and, maintained a life where he could have that, do all that, he would say, I'm never going to retire. I'm going to die in this apartment. I'm dying in that apartment.
Yeah.
That was his thing. So, oddly enough, that's what happened.
I like that you brought up how professional he was. Yes, he never wanted to disappoint anyone. He would always be, after a radio show or a podcast, that was good, right, buddy? That was good, right? I'm like, oh, God, Vic, of course it was good. It was effortless, always with him. But what I'll miss about Vic Henley the most was just the simple stuff, man. We got to do a lot with the radio show and then the podcast and, hanging at Gephardt's and all that and hanging with, fans of the podcast. But just the simple things. And one of those was we were walking home after the radio show and we would always walk to the middle of Central Park because at that point he lived on the east side and I lived on the west side. So we always knew, let's walk straight down the middle of Central Park. And one day we're walking, it was after the afternoon show in the fall. It's already dark out and we're walking in Central Park and we're getting distracted and we keep walking and the fireworks are starting for the New York City Marathon. They would do the fireworks display the night before the marathon as a pre-celebration. And so we're walking. It's just a perfect night. We had a good radio show and we're laughing and joking. And he's just, more knowledge than anyone I'll ever know. Always learn something every time you talk to Vic. And he absolutely had a photographic memory because it was crazy what he could pull out of his damn skull at any moment in time. And we keep walking and I'm so interested in what he's saying. And we're looking at the fireworks and the fireworks are getting closer and closer and closer. Long story short, we were less than 100 yards from where they were firing those damn things. And the fireworks themselves are raining down on me and Vic Henley. And we're both like, I don't think we're supposed to be this close to the fireworks. And But then me and him are like, but no one stopped us. There was no police tape or anything like that.
You're in the firing zone. Get out.
Yeah, more or less. And we just laughed ourselves silly as pretty significant, like embers or whatever you want to call it.
Sure,
we're just
raining down
around us. And we just thought it was the funniest fucking thing. And we're looking at each other like, buddy. He's like, buddy, why didn't anyone stop us? And I'm like, I don't know. But now we're in danger, It was just those just dumb, simple things that I will cherish when I think of Vic Henley.
Talking about the little things, it was me sending him a text saying brown liquor and barbecue in the backyard in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And he would just come over and we'd sit out there for a few hours. We'd turn the music on just on the phone, sit out there, smoke weed, cook meat, do all that.
Yeah. It was the simple things. And I feel bad for you because your apartment's now going to have a lot of pigeons.
Right.
A lot of pigeons. The pigeon killer. The baby pigeon killer is gone.
Yeah. Well, look, I like a firearm as much as the next person. Maybe I'll pick it up.
You're gonna be infested with pigeons. The word is out, man. The pigeon killer is no longer with us. Ah, fuck, Judd. God damn it.
I know, man. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. It's like, I'll tell you this. Okay, see, this was a perfect thing, picture and text to send Vic yesterday, and I thought about it, and then it was like that. Oh fuck, I was out here because I'm in Florida, and I'm going out there fishing just on the beach at night, and I bought the pole and the thing to stick in the ground to put the pole in. I got my rig out there. Didn't spend a lot of money, but a little bit of something on this. Throwing this out there, and I'm just catching, little small fish, nothing crazy. Some are keepers, but I'm not lighting the world on fire.
Yeah.
This fucking hillbilly walks out on the beach. He's wearing overalls and no shirt, and he looks like a caveman, beard and all this. And he walks out. He's got a casting net to throw out to get bait and a fishing pole that doesn't even look like a regular fishing pole. It might have been a fucking cane pole. And he throws out the casting net, gets some bait, throws it on his little shitty pole, throws it out there, catches a fucking redfish that's so big I think it's illegal. in like 5 minutes. I'm out there with my good rig and shit, not catching shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wanting to send the text of this caveman out there to Vic. And, I thought about it and I'm like, oh, fuck, shit.
You should have texted your new friend.
All right, I'll send you that redneck shit. Yeah.
You're casting too far, my friend.
Probably story of my life. Dude.
You're casting too far, and he knows that. The biggest fish I have caught surf casting, I barely got it in the water. A lot of those fish like to hang out where those waves crash because it knocks all sorts of stuff up in the air that they could eat. So I bet you're casting too far because most people, when they're surf casting, they're thinking, man, the further I cast, the bigger the fish. And it's just simply not true. They like to feed a lot closer to shore, my friend.
Well, there might be something to that because, again, he looked like he had some little shitty rod and reel.
Yeah.
And he plucked that fucking redfish out of the water. Oh, yeah, I've got little fucking, what are the little crabs, the little sand flea things and shrimp on there? Oh, yeah, I got a whole thing. No, he's got bait fish he just caught wearing his fucking overalls that are
man.
Wet.
And here's the other thing I'm going to teach you.
Tell me.
You don't need to spend a lot of money on your rig.
No, I didn't spend a lot of money, but it was definitely more than whatever the fuck he had going on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, my bait guy, he's 70-something. He is as old school, and he's been at this a long time. He's taught me a lot. And at first, he used to laugh at me. He's like, just take this. Right here is all you need. Don't come in here with all these questions about all this fancy crap. You need this, middle of the road reel. Here's a couple striper rigs. Grab a couple anchors. Here's some clam bellies, and don't cast so far. That's why
don't cast so far.
Well, he taught me that. He's like, that's why you're not catching anything. And sure enough, man, when I listened and started like just casting a little shallower, I started finally catching all sorts of stuff. So.
Dude, I said, well, maybe that's one of those things. That's not a bad lesson in life, and even in general. Don't cast so far.
Yeah, 100%, man. Life shouldn't be so. No, life shouldn't be so hard. You're right. How's Florida as far as staying at home? That state's going to get us all killed.
Who knows what any of all this is going to lead to, or whatever. But I think there's a lot to be said about places like a little community like this, or places like where I grew up in South Texas and different places around the country, that they got to get back to work, dude. New York's going to be the last.
Oh, I know.
But all these little places, man, where there's not much going on, you got to let people live their lives, man. And that's the thing that I'm so surprised that places like where I am or where I grew up, talking to my parents, like who were just fine in South Texas, they're going by the same regulations as New York City.
Right.
And that's kind of absurd,
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, when we get back eventually, you're not coming back anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to recognize New York City when we get back. There's going to be so many places that are going to be boarded up and closed down.
We were doing just fine staying in the city when all this started going on. And, just the way I grew up, the stuff that my dad hammered into my head, it's like, if someone comes up to me on the street I don't know and is like, hey, I'm looking at blah, 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 and they're trying to get my attention, I just assume somebody behind me is trying to rob me.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how the stuff that my dad hammered into my head. And so to me, like, this whole thing going on in New York, to me, it was the panic. Like, I'm not worried about the sickness. People get the sickness. Some people, get it worse than others. Some people die. I get that. Right. But the panic is the thing that I was concerned about. Like, when things don't start working right and people start panicking and all this, I tell you, there was a few things that happened that I looked around and I'm like, yeah, I mean, we got an option to go to some other places if we want to. So maybe now's the time to go.
Yeah. What was the thing that made you go, we got to move on for a while?
I tell you, it's funny because there was two things in particular. Every night in the city, people put out your or whatever given nights, put out your garbage and your recyclables and the paper and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so there's the same two Asian ladies that come around every time we put the recyclable stuff out, right? And they always come through and they always got the truck on the corner and they load it up and they go. And I started seeing other people like from further uptown who were coming down and picking through and leaving garbage all over the ground. Right. So that was one thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing was you're seeing more of like the dirt bikes and the 4-wheelers and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like that, everyone's on lockdown, and so some people are feeling bold enough to ride these bikes and shit in that part of the city. Well, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit. They're not hurting anybody. I don't give a shit personally, but they felt like it was open up enough to where, fuck it, we can drive like 50 people down or up 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's a little weird.
They started to think, it might be a bit like the Wild Wild West. I've only been back to New York City once. I felt really bad because me and my kids, we started a tropical fish hobby. And, for a little bit, we had a couple people in the building that were dropping these like pyramid bombs into the tank, and they could feed off that for a good week. And then I look at my wife, I'm like, it's do or die, man. We can't keep asking people. They're worried about their jobs and staying healthy, and we can't keep asking them to feed our tropical fish. So it's do or die. I'm like, I think I could make it to New York City and back without talking to anybody. So long story short, I went into the city and I only saw one person. I told the story on a past episode, so I don't have to go through the whole thing. But 90% of my building, they don't live there anymore. Only 10% of the people stayed. Everyone else said fuck this and left. And I put my tropical fish in gallon milk jugs. The point I want to make today is I was going down the Long Island Expressway. I just wanted to get home. So I was going 85, 90 miles an hour like it was nothing. Everyone was driving that. Everyone was driving that fast.
Wait. So wait a minute. Just so I'm clear, you went back to the apartment in the city and you had some stuff to do, but the fish were there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went out to the coast, left the fish, went back to check your mail and get fish and put them in the jugs to take them back out?
Yeah, so I could save them.
It's a fucking rescue mission, dude.
Yeah, and I went in the middle of the night, and I got there really late because I'm like, I won't run into any people.
In the cover of darkness.
Oh yeah, man. And then I was in my apartment. Oh, I should tell you some of the good stuff. So I'm in my apartment. There was a little list from the kids and my wife as well, and I had to get the mail. And and then I'm like, I think I was going to do it all in one day. I'm like, I think I could sleep for a few hours. I'm kind of tired, I was like around midnight, maybe 1 in the morning. And then
covert operation, dude.
I lay down. My eyes pop up at 5:15. I'm in a complete panic because it's going to take me at least an hour to break down all the other stuff from the fish tank and get all this other stuff
right.
So I'm in a complete panic. I wake up at 5:15. I'm like, it's fucking go time because I didn't want to see anybody, and I'm spraying my way. I'm spraying my way out of the apartment. I'm spraying my way to the elevator. Spraying buttons. I'm just spraying wherever I can. And I get everything in the car, and I'm out of the city by 6:15. I'm like, I think it's going to take me an hour. I honestly saw one person, the guy behind the desk, and he was still on duty because he was doing the overnight shift. And so then I jump in my car, and now I'm going 85, 90 miles an hour down the Long Island Expressway. And boy, do the cops love pulling people over on the Long Island Expressway. And everyone, the traffic was all going around 80, 85, 90 miles an hour. And there were cops on the side of the road, and they didn't even blink. They're like, just fucking go.
Godspeed, brother.
Well, because at this point, it was pretty scary for everybody because we weren't wearing masks or anything yet. And, the cops are thinking, too, like, I'm gonna chase this guy down and give him a speeding ticket and risk getting the coronavirus? Fuck that. Because they all have families, too. So it was It was amazing, though, man, to go that fast finally on the Long Island Expressway without worrying about cops.
Open it up. Yeah. Oh, fuck. I love that. In the cover of darkness, you went and checked the mail, got the fish, and took a nap and got the fuck out. I love that. And that's great.
I'm amazed these fish made it. I was like, they were just in the passenger seat. I didn't have the car warm enough at this point. It was still kind of very, very early spring, so it was like 30, 35 degrees out. But they're hardy, man. They've been in this location for about 3 weeks, and they're doing just fine. So
all of them made it.
Yes. Every single one. Because I even warned the kids. I'm like, look, we might lose half of them. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
It could happen. From what I remember, I haven't had an aquarium since I was a kid. But if you're transporting fish, you would want to get them regulated to different water temperatures, right?
Yeah.
Like you would want to, right. So you just put them in a fucking bucket with the same water.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And said, all right, we're going to make a break for it, motherfuckers. We're going to go.
Yeah. I think what saved them was I brought some of their old water with them in other gallons.
Sure.
So I probably,
comfortable. It
was a 29-gallon tank. I brought probably in total 10 gallons of their water. And then the fish tank where I'm at now is half full. So
sure.
I mixed the two and dumped them in, and they're rock stars, man.
They're swimming in their own brand, going 90 down the Long Island Expressway.
Oh, the water's sloshing in the passenger seat.
Yeah, right.
Because
it's a fucking rescue mission.
Well, the fish store told me to use bags, and then I was thinking maybe I'll just empty half the water from the tank and just like put it in the back of my car.
Let it slosh.
In the end, I said, "Fuck! I think milk jugs."
You put it in milk, like a gallon jug?
Yes. I was saving the milk jugs. Well, I got younger kids, so they're still drinking a shitload of milk. So I'm like, I started saving the milk jugs ahead of time. Like, I think I'll use milk jugs.
You save the milk jugs for the fish transport?
Yes.
Wow, dude. That's forward thinking, dude. That's forward thinking. Holy shit. Yeah. That's way impressive. So you had a gallon milk jug. How many fish we talking?
How many we got? 8, 10, 12. 12. But
12 fish in one milk jug?
No. I spread them out, man. I had it all figured out because I got babies. Because what happened was...
How many milk jugs did you have in your car?
Oh, boy, did I look like white trash. 3 for the fish. Maybe it wasn't 10 gallons, but at least another 4 or 5. Yeah, I had about 7 or 8 milk jugs. My luck, we start this, this hobby, me and my son, and we found a great fish store in Manhattan, and I'm sure it's gone by now, unfortunately, because I don't know how they're going to survive. We go there, and we decide to get a molly and a swordfish, and then, we were going to, like, get other things. But, all right, let's bring these 2 home and see how they do. Judd, the one was pregnant, and when I saw the guy grab the fish, I'm like, oh, fuck, that one's definitely pregnant. Because, I have some knowledge. I got some knowledge from the old days. Wouldn't you know? So we put him in the fish tank. The next morning, there's 100 babies in my tank. It gave birth hours after we brought it home.
Fucking deadbeat dad.
And then the fucking savage Molly mother just starts eating her own kids, basically.
Hey, man, Hakuna Matata, motherfucker.
Oh, my God. This thing.
That's how it works.
But how do you go through life and you get pregnant as a stupid fucking fish, and you're carrying something in your belly, whatever knowledge they got, and then you give birth to 100 baby fish, and then your first thought is, I got to eat all of them.
Protein. I need protein.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
I'm thinking, I'll try to save around 10.
How did you determine which ones would be sacrificed?
Oh, no. I mean, it was right off the bat, it was just savage. I mean, these things these things were just getting eaten like left and right. And there were ones hiding in some plants and stuff. So honestly, I saved 7 in the end. And then wouldn't you know, one motherfucker that I never saved, all of a sudden a week or 2 later, I'm like, holy shit, there's one still alive in there. And so long story short, we have 8 babies, 2 adults.
Everyone's got their own version of Nom.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. But it was...
Jesus, dude.
It was horrifying, though. I'm like, what the hell, man? No knowledge that these little baby fish are yours, you sick fuck.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now it's on you.
Anyway, Judd Jones, man, I absolutely miss you. We'll definitely have to get parts and do this up right when we can,
Well, when we can get back to whatever normal life is going to be after this,
yeah,
I mean, it's going to be a version of it, but I think it's going to be a long time, man. Especially for New York, it's going to be a slow roll, and something that Lisa and I talked about even last night. We're down here. It's weird not to talk to Vic for a period of time, but like when we get back to New York, it's going to just all come up again.
Yes.
Because they're going to be right next door, and it's just going to be fucking weird. That's for sure. But
well, the pandemic, I hate to say this, but it is the truth, has helped with the mourning process a little bit because, we're all fucking worried and scared shitless.
Sure.
So it's kind of put the Vic thing, I wouldn't say on the back burner, but in a weird way has made it easier for now. I'll say that just for now. And honestly, it hasn't been that easy, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, man. And, something I told his mother, I said, I talked about the apartment. I didn't say something that all he ever wanted to do was die in his apartment. I didn't say that. Yeah. But my point to her was, like, Vic did it. He was content with everything that he had done up to that day that he died.
Yeah.
He was always able to make a great amount of money for many years at a great apartment, could dictate and do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And again, that's the kind of thing that to me was like, that's the thing to kind of like, if you can get to that where, you don't need celebrity to be successful necessarily. And if you can do that, fuck, man. I would love nothing more than to go out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday and do shows and then just go into a fucking cave the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Like that would be that would be my fucking Shangri-La.
Yeah.
And, he was able to fucking do it, dictate what he wanted to do forever and didn't have to have a boss. And, I admire that, man. That's something to shoot for.
Yeah. You said something there that I really want to jump on. If you're looking at, celebrity to be successful, that is.
It depends on what you want, man. There's
there's so many people that I know that they're like, if only if. First of all, you should never live your life with if only if. If only if I had a top rated radio show. If only if I was selling out arenas, then I would be happy. Then I would be enjoying my life. That's the mistake so many fucking people make, whether you're in entertainment or whatever you do for a living. You can't play the only if game. And if you're looking at celebrity to be successful where you could finally say, I made it, you're doing it all wrong because the celebrity doesn't last. And then when it goes away, what the fuck do you have left with your life?
Right. Well, you want to be earning. You want to be, if you've maintained a certain, lifestyle, whatever level that is.
Sure.
Like it, that to me, and again, for me, having had a whole nother life before this and did pretty well and, comedy wise, it's like, if I can just exist by making people laugh, it's not even a celebrity thing like that. I feel like I was stealing on people if I could do that at a level to where I didn't have to worry about once the automatic bills processed every month. I'm not looking for much, but that kind of thing. But for Vic, someone like him, I mean, shit, dude. I mean, he was able to do what, at 57 and even for many years before that to dictate what he wanted to do because he had enough going on to hit the gas or hit the brake whenever he wanted.
No, if you do it for the love of it, for the most part, everything else will follow. And I mention all that because that's why me and Vic really did get along. I mean, I was at the top of the mountain in the radio world. I wasn't fucking happy. I mean, I got a damn good life because of it and stuff. But I'm having more fun now, talking to way less people, making way less money, and I think that's why the last version of the radio show and the podcast with me and Sherrod and Vic and Carl, and then you at the end, obviously. We were all just doing it for the love of it, and because we really loved hanging out with each other, and it was effortless, and we all knew none of us were really making money off it, but that was okay for all of us, including our pal Vic Henley.
Right. Well, I'm actually waiting for money. If
what happened?
You want to pass some? You want to break some off? No.
What? Your phone? Your what? Your reception? What's going on?
It. Hello? Are you in a tunnel?
Hey, are you still there, Judd?
No, man, you're right though, dude. I mean, it was in the way that I met you and Carl and all that and Sherrod. Any time that I would hang out with y'all, it's the same thing as if I was hanging out with Vic. We're just bullshitting and hanging out or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why you talk about when Vic would say, oh no, I think that was good, whatever. He would ask me the same thing,
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's a simple formula, dude. If people are having a good time talking with each other and talking shit and telling stories, that's going to be interesting to people. They're going to, want to listen to that.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, we have those recorded. And see, here's the other thing, man. I mean, the fact that I've got, that you had me on your, podcast before. I've got all these recordings with all y'all and me and my fucking buddy Vic, dude, that I'll always be able to have, that I just really appreciate, which brings me up. And look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm my third Jack Daniels and water into this whole thing.
Beautiful.
But this is what I wanted to tell you. There's the on that episode when this was a bad idea episode.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the fact that I stumped Vic on the good-hearted woman thing about Waylon Jennings and Willie, and how it was written about Tina Turner and Ike Turner.
Yeah.
I stumped him. So you're the master of all that shit. I want you to edit that section where I got him, and I want you to send that to me.
Oh, no problem. For your podcast, Judd Jones does a good podcast.
No, just for me to have.
Oh, okay, no problem.
I'm not even technical enough to know how to do it on my podcast.
It's easy.
Right.
And it's funny, I would have even more recordings of all of us, but there were times Vic would look at me and go, turn that thing off. But I'd be like, because I got a programming mind, I'm like, oh, this is so good. We could do another hour or two. But, he was right.
Sure.
Turn that damn thing off and let's just hang out. We did it. Let's just enjoy each other.
It was, any time that I was involved, my first-hand account, hanging out with any of y'all, it was always just as natural as if the audio was on or not.
The line was always blurred because, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, but it was so just easy and natural with those guys, where I felt like I was more like my true self than any other time in my career. So,
well, that's it. Look, dude, if you're having fun and you're transporting fish in the middle of the night, fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. And now,
you've won.
Well, now our family feels complete, because I was like, we're not going to be back in the city anytime soon. That tropical fish thing meant a lot to me and my kids and my wife to a certain extent. And I'm like, I know we're not going back anytime soon, but that feels like home to us. I gotta get those damn fish.
100%, dude. I think it's the visual of it, like you in the middle of the night and all that shit, like running back and forth, is hilarious with the fish involved. I have to say that on the surface. But I totally get it, dude. It's normalcy. It's what y'all are used to. It's what the kids are used to. It's, hey, the fish are out here. This is normal. I
wasted too many of our gloves and masks, though. Because I just kept ripping gloves off. I'm like, I touched the elevator button. I gotta get a new pair. I gotta get a new pair of fucking gloves on. It was just, I was very obsessive about the whole thing. So
well, Lisa bought these gloves, a whole fucking box before we left.
Yeah,
and they're all mediums. So every time I put my hand in it, it breaks. I can't even do anything. I just got to grab anything like with paper towel. But
fuck.
We're not worried about it. We're just hanging out with the caveman down in Florida.
I love it. I'm going to call you soon so I get an update on your fishing, now that you know to cast a lot shallower, my friend.
A lot shallow. What did we say? You don't have to cast that far? Or what was it? You'll have to listen back to it. There was a good statement in there.
Yeah, man. It's they're a lot closer to shore. I don't know exactly how I put it, but
right.
All right.
I think it might be actually the name of this podcast episode. In memory of Vic Henley and whatever we said, you don't have to cast too far.
That was beautiful, actually. I liked how you said that. It's sad I forgot it 5 minutes after you said it, but I really enjoyed it at the time.
Right? Yeah, it sounded good. I think emotionally, I feel like it sounded good.
It was perfect.
That's right. It's a little foggy at this point, man. Yeah.
All right, Judd Jones, you take care of yourself and say hi to Lisa, and you guys stay safe down there in Florida, all right?
All right, boy, you too, man. I enjoyed talking with you, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Oh, what's the plug? Give me something for the people.
My podcast, which I haven't done much, haven't felt that funny. This talking to you has kind of helped me, so I'm going to put together something. I want to do something just talking about Vic in my next episode, Diary of Judd Jones podcast.
Right.
And that's that whole thing. I'm just trying to remember my previous 40 years and blah, 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 blah.
Perfect.
And talk about dead friends.
Oh, God. This death thing's getting old.
But no, man, I certainly appreciate you having me on, man. Like I said earlier, you seem like you're all right. So far, so good. So,
I'm faking it a little bit, you know.
That's all right.
I'm using
Fake it till we make it. We all do. Yeah.
I'm using this as a bit of a distraction. I'm not going to lie to you, but in general, I'm okay. Because I don't know. I know Vic was in a good place, and he accomplished a lot in his life, and he was also the type of guy that he wasn't worried about moving on.
No, he was happy with everything that was going on now, and 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year, he was happy as can be. I just felt, just like with any friends that you have, I felt like I was going to know him till he died when he was in his late 80s or something.
Yeah,
and it's like fuck. He did a thing in here. I'll tell you this. Right, he did a thing when we were in Baltimore a couple weeks ago at Magoobies. It was like the second show Saturday night, and packed. I mean, there's tons of people in this place, and it's like a theater seating. It's a great comedy room, and there was a table in the front, and it was 20-something people at the table, 25 people. I mean, it was a long table that went straight from the stage out, and it was all black folks, like in their 20s and 30s, and there was one white dude at the end.
Yeah.
Right, who was with like a chick who was black or whatever. So he's sitting on the end. It was all black folks from the whole table like that, and Vic noticed it. Right, and he goes, oh, hello, black people, like that, and right, and then he sees that white dude. He goes, oh, white guy on the end, and then the people kind of holler whatever, and he goes, I'm going to call this table reparations.
Perfect.
It was beautiful, dude. I mean, it was just perfect. I mean, but he had that crowd work shit, because that's what I would tell him is I'd see him do the crowd work stuff, and I know enough to know that anything he's saying up there, he's done before, but he's also got 30 plus years behind him to where, he can do it. And that's what I don't have. So, when I see him do that stuff, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, that's that 30-year shit. Like,
right.
He knows well enough that there's 20 black people who were kind of smiling already at the table. He can say that's the reparation table because of one white boy at the end.
Perfect.
And he had them all. He had him.
Of course he did. Of course he did. With a little wink in his eye as he's saying stuff like that.
We all took pictures after the show, all of us
nice.
together. I mean, they were thrilled. Yeah. It was great.
All right, Judd. We'll obviously keep in touch. I'll have you on sooner than later. But thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
All right, boy. I do too. Enjoying talking with you. And fuck, man, I can't even imagine when we'll all be back in New York and living quasi-normal lives, but I look forward to it. That's for sure.
100%. I'm right there with you.
All right, boy. Good talking to you. I'll catch up with you.
That was good.
Yo.
What, you wanted to go with the dramatic out and hang up on me? You son of a bitch.
Was that what it was? I thought you hung up on me. I said, all right, boy, I'll talk to you later. And I heard a click. Is that what happened?
I'm like, this guy wants the dramatic out.
I was like, I felt like it was a natural out. I was getting ready to go outside in the wind and have a smoke. I felt natural about the whole, I don't know, man.
It was awesome. I just called you back to bust your balls.
That's good. Sure. No, it felt pretty natural. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt confident about it. I said, all right, boy, red button. Later. That's it.
It's The Late Show with David Letterman. Tonight, comedian Vic Henley.
Our next guest is a very funny gentleman, and he can be seen regularly at the Gotham Comedy Club right here in New York City. Please welcome to The Late Show, Vic Henley. Vic?
Thanks, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from Alabama originally, so most people associate the Southern accent with stupidity. And granted, there are certain things you don't expect Southerners to say. Checkmate, that'd be one. Or Alex, I'll take Shakespeare for 1,000.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while.
Hand-trained, hand-raised, non-biting pets. You go to Woolworths, get a hamster?
Keep me in your heart for a while.
Come to my house and get a sugar glider. Come to the Henleys. We got squirrels for sale.
Keep me in your heart for a while.
Sugar glider.
I think that influenced all of us because when I walk around New York City and I see a squirrel, I'm thinking maybe this one could be a sugar glider.
It's a Louisiana thing. But it's in the South. It's a sugar glider.
Were you really convinced you trained him? Come on.
My brother was completely convinced that he was the P.T. Barnum of sugar gliders.
Hold me in your thoughts, take me in your dreams, touch me as I fall into view. When the winter comes, keep the fires lit, and I will be right next to you. Engine drivers headed north to Pleasant Street, keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while.
I can remember going to the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Lord have mercy.
Keep me in your heart for a while.
How old is Vic Henley? Lord have mercy. That was before the sock hops.
Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while.
Vic!
Keep me in your heart for a while.
I got a brand new neighbor just moved in my building. He just moved in. I don't talk to anybody in all 3 buildings. And I'm like, hey, I'm your neighbor. If you need me, I guess ask me for something. You're right. It was a New York City moment. I'm a good neighbor, but I'm an absent neighbor. If you smell weed, yes, it's me. Look, if you really need something, I will help you.